Hello, and welcome to the 18th episode of the Pure Michigan Properties Podcast. My name is Dylan Mostyn, and I am here with my fabulous co-host,
Shalaunda. Wait a minute, Dylan. You said episode 18.
18.
Boy, oh boy.
Remember when we did the first episode?
Yeah.
And
I was so nervous.
I was too. I mean, the first one always is like an experience for sure.
I'm just sitting here in wow though.
What are you out about?
I'm wow, 18 episodes in, and I'm just excited for what is done for us and the image that it's helped create, and then just being able to give back to others.
I think so too, especially, I mean, based off the feedback that we've been receiving from our friends, family, colleagues in our office. So it's been great so far, and just even, I think it's put a kick in my ass to start like learning more stuff.
Okay.
Genuinely, even just like around the realm of real estate, like you know how we went last week to Home Depot.
Yes.
We were just like that forced us to go out and learn, so we can articulate that back for the podcast ourselves.
Absolutely, and so it's always it's not. Yeah, just being able to learn new things every day.
There's always something new.
Always something new.
And I was actually just talking about this with my dad last night at dinner. He was like, there's some professionals in their industry who think they know it all. If you do, you're in trouble because you don't know it all.
Yeah, you're in big trouble, because one thing, change is constant.
Oh, forever changing.
If not, then be a CPA.
Exactly. I mean, at that point, that's probably the industry for you, right?
Right.
So do you want to introduce the topic for what we're talking about today?
So today's topic, will be about the NAR lawsuit.
Okay.
So many of you, or everyone, has been hearing about the National Associations of Realtors lawsuit as it regards to commissions, things like that.
Has that been ever brought up to you, either by like your clients, your friends, your family? What's the conversation looking like?
So yeah, actually my brother, he lives out in California.
Okay.
And he called, and when he called and we had a conversation, that was one of the things that he brought up. He mentioned, and so that conversation was just educate him on what we're seeing change in the industry.
Okay.
Such as decoupling the commissions, pretty much. And so what that means is for selling agents and buyer agents is there won't be any more compensation listed on the MLS.
Correct.
So we have to reach out to the other side of the transaction, listing agent or selling agent, and ask, hey, are you all cooperating with,
I just think it's funny, to be honest, that the one place where like
find everything
is the MLS, and now that field is being taken out. But I think it's just the funniest part about it is we could still advertise it other places. We just can't put it in the MLS. So if we had our own personal websites, we could do that. We could send an email to someone. We could tell them over the phone. We just can't post it in the MLS.
And so one thing that I learned is that this isn't new to the industry, because commercial real estate, this is what they do. They negotiate their commissions behind the MLS and behind these platforms. So it's not new, it's just how we pivot.
It's just a shift in the...
Yeah, it's just a shift in making sure we educate our clients.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that was the whole issue with the lawsuit, is that there was no transparency about how the commission breakdown flows.
Correct.
And then sellers didn't understand that if a commission is offered at 6%, and the way, if we decide in our business to split it up, is 3% to the listing agent and 3% to the buyer's agent. Sometimes that conversation was never had with the seller, and they're confused on wait, why is 3% going to a buyer's agent who didn't even represent me in the whole transaction? They represented the buyer and had their fiduciary duty. They did have a fiduciary duty to me, but I'm paying for it.
Right.
Is that a conversation you've been hearing? Because I've had that.
So that's the conversation that I've been having. I haven't heard much about the, about that or the concern, but that is the conversation I'm having. Hey, this is what's happening. This is the cause. This is the reason why it's happening. And I believe too, the other side to it is because I've heard a few realtors and other professionals say that, hey, this is industry standard. It's not standard. Office policy, this is what we charge and why we charge. And I think that's where that misconception, or that, information was misconstrued at that point.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think genuinely it just comes down to a lack of education on the realtor's part to educate their clients on how it's broken down and honestly why it's broken down. Because for our office, we have an office policy that we do cooperate with the alternative realtor and we pay out 3% to them. That's not an industry standard, and we can't even say that because everything is negotiable. And I think that's an issue that agents don't explain to their clients, that, oh, we charge a flat fee or a flat commission rate of 3%. But they'd never explain to their client, like, that's the 3% or the 6% on the listing side, let's say. That's not just a standard, right? I mean, if a seller says, I don't want to pay 6%, that's a different conversation. It might not be the end all be all.
And the funny thing is too, there was even the president had something to say, and when he spoke, the ideal was kind of twisted. He'd expressed that this was the first time buyers and sellers will be able to negotiate the commission on residential properties, and if that's been his experience, for others that's not the case. It's not the first time. You can negotiate anything at any time. Now, who's to say you get it? But
that's the thing. It's like, listen, if you're asking for something, it still could be a yes or a no.
Absolutely.
But I think on the client's aspect, they just never understood that they had that power to say, no, wait, hold on, I want to negotiate a better deal for myself. Like I said, an end-all be-all.
Absolutely.
And I think the way that sometimes the general public's perception is, it is the end-all be-all. Like, if you don't agree with something, then we can't get the contract signed. Listen, everything is negotiable.
Yeah, terms are definitely negotiable.
Yes.
And what do you think some of the advantages will be for sellers to agree to those companies whose policies are that 6%?
So because I actually had this conversation with a client who is listing their house, and funny enough, she's an attorney, so she knows all about this lawsuit. She's like, I've heard about the lawsuit, I wanted you to explain it to me, because I want to hear your perspective on it.
Absolutely.
And the way I explain it to people is that it helps with the sale of your property. It really does. To me, it's more of the marketing behind getting your property sold at the end of the day. And what I mean by that is, for me, my definition of marketing is putting a product or a service in front of the right people. It's not just advertising it to the general public. It's getting in front of the right faces.
Absolutely.
And getting in front of the people who are ready, able, and willing to buy this house. So I explained it like that. I was like, it's really just like a marketing, what's the word? Advantage to selling your house, because that helps the affordability of the buyer to come in and say, okay, now I'm able to afford it because I don't have that upfront cost in my closing cost of paying that 3% commission or whatever that commission was negotiated to the buyer's agent. Which now, because if they're able to not have to pay for that commission, then that means maybe they can get into that higher price point of a listing house, which could ultimately end with a great deal for my seller.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we already have, other factors to consider when bringing deals to the table and determining the cash to close and things like that. And so that does kind of alleviate that pressure and that extra, hey, from the buyer's perspective, hey, now I have to go bring more money to the table.
Exactly.
When essentially the buyer's compensation is the finder's fee.
Yes. I love the way you put it. Yeah, the finder's fee. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, you're good. It's the finder's fee, and so I think when sellers are the conversation, that we're having when we sit down with sellers, that they are understanding, hey, we want a vetted buyer to walk through your properties and not just anyone out house shopping on a Sunday because it's nice outside and your home is listed.
Exactly.
And so they've been wanting to, but they are not in a position to even know if they're ready, willing, and able to.
Yep.
And so now they're wasting your time.
Love the way you said vetted, which go into more about what a vetted client looks like.
Yeah, a vetted client looks like one who has already gone through the pre-qualification and pre-approved process. So now they know exactly what their buying capability is.
Yes.
And no one's spending time viewing properties, I hope, that they can't afford.
Exactly.
And so, but even working with the realtor, on the realtor side, we're making sure that, hey, our clients understand, here's your buying power. Not only that you're pre
Exactly. And I think ultimately that could be the end-all be-all for a deal, because if you don't have a vetted client who has gone through buyer's consultation so their agent knows what they're looking for, because you're not just bringing in someone who's going to walk in your house, look around, snoop around, to be honest, and then figure out, oh, this doesn't even work for them. Approval letter saying that they had the capacity to buy a house like this. And then at the end of the day, it's the communication with the lender, through the agent, through the buyer, which having all those steps already checked off before they even submit an offer to our house or even look at the house, that alleviated so much just stress on the listing side of the whole process. And that's where I think whatever is justified for our office is 3% to the buyer's agent.
Correct.
That's how I justify that, because I'm like, as a seller, you don't want to do all that. You don't want to go out and try to find a buyer who now you have to go check mark. You're doing double the duty for.
And that's the one thing too that I don't think that clients understand. As a listing agent, you want the services to represent both the buy and sell side, and that's a dual agency.
Yes.
Now that also requires me to do, like you said, double duty, and so not a bad idea, by the way.
No,
it's not a bad idea.
Honestly, I mean, dual agency. Some people like it, some people don't. I think it depends on the situation.
Okay. Yeah, true. And but to add to the point, it was saying, like, to wrap it around, hey, there are agents out here who already have clients in their pipeline who may be for this property, and they have to, of course, be ready to run the race.
Exactly. And I mean, for our office policy, it's 30%. Like, I think I believe it's justified for that, based off of all the work that the buyer's agent's doing. And I'm still holding the fiduciary duty to the seller, so I'm still making sure that they're covered on their end. It's not like I'm just leaving them high and dry, saying, okay, well, thanks.
And so let's even back up and talk about the consultation, because during the consultation, we're discussing the seller's net sheet. So different factors go into the seller's net sheet. And so if we can come with a ballpark number that works, then great. You know, give some negotiating power there. And then also for the buyers, it's like they think their mindset is the market that we're in, that the sellers have all the advantage already.
Right.
So how is it a win-win for, both parties?
That's the thing, is how do we create that dynamic so that both parties are happy at the end of the day?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's one of our mottos, is win-win for Keller Williams. And
That's right.
genuinely, that's what I look for in any kind of conversation I have with either it's a buyer, a seller, or just someone interested in the real estate realm.
Yeah.
I mean, I've even had conversations with buyers who were like, oh, I want to lowball that. I'm like, that's not a win-win, though. I mean, I understand it's a win for you if you can get it accepted, but at their end, the seller's end, I'm speaking with the listing agent, kind of explaining what my buyers their thought process is, and seeing kind of like picking their brain a little bit. And they're like, that doesn't sound like a win to me. I'm like, okay, then fair enough. I understand where you're coming from.
And I think that's, again, what this lawsuit was all about. Buyers and sellers, their mindset, the mutual understanding of how this commission works.
Right.
It just wasn't there.
Let me ask you this. Do you think buyer's agency or co-op is going to go away? Do you think sellers are going to stop paying for buyer's agents' commission? Or do you think it's going to stay around?
So, that's a good question.
That's also a hard question to answer.
That's a really good question, and it is a hard question. It's just about, I think, motivation to get your home sold. What are you willing to do? Where's the compromise? Where's the compromise? And so...
Fair. What does it look like if buyer's agency commission goes away from the seller side?
Well, that just means that buyers have to come to the table with more cash to close. And we're pretty much in a... for buyers, or do they continue to find other alternatives?
So that's a conversation that I've even been having with a couple of my buyers who say, oh, we're going to be waiting until...
Nearby.
If you have to take that, go ahead.
No, we're good.
Okay.
I'll call back.
Okay.
I'm silent. But this is my financial advisor guy. So. No, we're good.
Okay. I mean, I've been having conversations with my clients who say I'm looking towards the summer, because when I was talking with my client who's the attorney, she's like, it's going to be signed off. Because right now it's not even well, it's been talked about, but it's not
signed off.
It's not signed off yet. So it's not in effect, or it's not approved to get into effect yet. But based off the conversations and the way it's been going, is that it's going to go into effect.
Right. And it's expected to go into effect mid-July.
Yes.
And so let's get prepared.
So yeah, that's, I think, especially for our buyers, it's important to kind of understand, to explain, one, agency.
Yes.
I think that's the most important part about this whole lawsuit at the end of the day is, what do I do for you as an agent? Am I your seller's agent, or your listing agent, your buyer's agent? Am I a dual agent? What's a transaction coordinator? Like, let me go through each one of those, and so you understand on your behalf what role I play for you.
Right, absolutely.
And then how does that look like? What do I do? What do I not do? Because I think even before the whole commission Because agency doesn't have to do anything with commission.
No, it does not. It does not have
And
anything.
I think some people have that misconception that, oh, if I'm your buyer's agent, that means the listing agent is going to be paying for my. That doesn't mean that.
No, that's not what that means
No,
at
'cause
all.
it doesn't. Those two don't go. Those two don't go together. Commission and agency do not overlap. But I like to explain, as your buyer's agent, this is what I do for you. This is what I don't do for you. This is what I charge based off the value I provide to you, and that's a conversation I'll have with my buyers.
Absolutely.
And then after that, I kind of I will literally pull up a MLS ticket, and I'll say, this property is offering buyer's agency commission. This one is not. This is what it looks like if they're not paying the commission. I'm going to be contractually obligated to come to you and say, this is what you owe me at the closing table for the services I provide you. Is that okay? And if they say no, fair enough. Then we'll look for a property that may be offering that compensation on my behalf to help alleviate that cost to you as a buyer.
And not to scare anyone, but here's some of the conversations I also have been having, and that's around different solutions, just to address even what's going on in the current market. So I'm finding that more individuals are looking for other options, even with purchasing manufactured homes and just paying a lot fee. It's looking more affordable in that regard. But also a lot of conversation on, hey, it's just cheaper to build from the ground up. And so sellers, that's something that you have to be aware that you're up against, is those options. Because people are just counter money. They're ready to move. They are ready to move.
Yes.
It just has to make sense for
the buyers. It
the
really
buyers,
does.
yeah.
I mean,
it has to make sense for everyone, but
yes, that makes that. Yeah, I like that. But especially for buyers, because the buyers that I work with are around my age, and I mean, sometimes they have money saved up, sometimes they don't. It depends on where they're at in their financial situation. So that's why I think it's so important to have that conversation of what it looks like if you do owe me a commission contractually. If you don't, what does that look like also? Is that something you're willing to do? If not, then we can go a different route in this whole thing. Because there's different routes we can go down in this real estate journey.
Yeah.
It's not just like bringing it all the way to the back. It's not an end-all, be-all.
Right.
But it just starts with a conversation.
It just starts with a conversation. We don't know what we don't know.
Bingo.
Until we learn.
Exactly.
And so
I think that's why we wanted to even highlight this conversation today on the podcast, because a lot of people are just reading headlines, but they're not reading the full story behind what's going on.
But even the headlines have misconstrued the story.
Yeah.
And so just talk with a professional, I would say.
Headlines just get you to
it's
look
an attention grabber.
That's all it is. It's just marketing at the end of the day. It's just to grab your attention. You read it and then you move along. You don't really read the full story. And the amount of conversations I've had, because my friends have brought this up, my family has brought this up, and they're like, "Oh, realtors are going away nowadays." I'm like,
No, we're not.
No, we're
here
not.
To stay and to serve to your request.
So I love having this conversation just because I think you get to provide education to people and really break down the whole story of everything, because people just take bits and chunks.
Yeah.
And you get to lay it out in a way that's digestible for them to understand it, but also to make it make sense.
Absolutely. And so I guess to wrap this whole conversation up, just to briefly touch on, the conversation again about the lawsuit that we're expecting, or that's happening here in the industry nationwide, right? So it's not just here in Michigan.
True.
That's important to know.
I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, and because of state laws, the direction of how we proceed may look a little different. Differently, right? Different.
Yeah.
Through the,
the different states and everything.
Right. Depending on your state. Exactly.
Correct.
And so, expecting mid-July for the lawsuit to actually be approved and for compensation requests to kind of change.
I also want to throw in this beforehand because before we wrap this up.
Yeah.
But it also requires that we disclose our agency relationships up front with the buyer. We can't just show buyers houses without.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I totally forgot about that aspect.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't show you a house without you being represented under contract. Well,
at least having that disclosure signed,
absolutely.
saying that this is the agency relationship we have.
That's it.
Because it just provides transparency between the buyer and their agent. Because some people don't understand who represents them in the transaction, and that's not even dealing with the commission. It just deals with representation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's the whole root of this whole lawsuit is the representation, because people don't understand how they're being represented in a transaction. I mean, if you probably ask someone like, "Oh, who represented me?" Some people probably don't even have an answer for you.
And so, just really quickly, right?
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, in your business, how do you plan on moving forward? Do you plan
Nothing's
on
changing.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I think because we got in and around the same time. Really did learn from the best. Our broker Pete, and then we also have coaches, mentors, other people in our office.
Yes.
Who taught us how to do the business right.
Rather
than do. I hate to say this, but some agents take shortcuts, and those kind of agents are going to be the ones affected by this lawsuit because they're no longer going to be able to take those shortcuts.
Indeed.
To where we've always had to disclose our agency relationships with our clients, saying, I'm your buyer's agent, I'm your seller or listing agent, I'm your transaction coordinator, I'm your dual agent, right? Mm-hmm. That's always been a thing. It just has sometimes never been disclosed.
And yeah, even for me and my business, like you said, nothing will change. We're already having that agency disclosure conversation. We're already having a conversation before we ever even go to see a property.
So we're doing it the right way.
Yep.
Nothing's changed with us.
That's right.
For some agents, it will change though. But
when it's done the right way, I guess.
Genuinely, especially with your biggest invest or transactional opportunity,
that's right.
You want to do it the right way. You do not want to take shortcuts because shortcuts end up becoming problems later down the road.
Yeah.
And honestly, no offense to anyone who does take the shortcuts, but I'd rather just not deal with those headaches later.
Yeah.
I'd rather do the hard work in the beginning, get it done, and have a happy transaction.
Well, and too, knowing what your realtor's standards are, for me, I'll deliver the standard service to everyone, so my process, it doesn't change. So you know what that expectation is up front. So, all right, let's get out of here.
Let's wrap it up. So thank you for joining us on the 18th episode of the Pure Michigan Properties Podcast. Governor Whitmore, we're still waiting for you, so we'll see you hopefully sooner rather than later.
Hashtag the governor, you guys.
And then also don't forget about it was the flower market, right?
Yeah, Flower Day down at the Easter Market. I did forget the date, which it is in May, and it's at 7 a.m. and it typically takes place. Is it the first? I think it's the first. I don't want to misspeak. So, matter of fact, we'll bring that information to you at a later date.
But thank you guys for joining us. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.